It's time for some Millsap football. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Millsap Bulldog Football Show, right here on the S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media. We cover all things 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas, and that includes coaches' shows, and that's what we're going to be doing this year for the Millsap Bulldogs. As each and every week, Coach Jake Johnson and I will break down the Bulldogs. Basically, it's like a review preview, where, we'll talk last week's action and then preview the week ahead or the week that is. And we'll have a lot of fun doing that. And we'll also kind of learn about the program, the ins and outs, things that are going on. We'll catch up at times about the JV and the junior highs and just all things Millsap football right here on this Millsap Coaches Show. Now, if you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, we would love to have you as a sponsor. You can email me, Terry, at s2ssport.com, or give me a call or text at 469-605-3658. And let's talk about getting you advertising here on this show, because this is going to be a fun show this year, because not only do I think the Bulldogs are once again in contention for a playoff spot, I think this is just in a very good and very fun district. And we'll actually talk to Coach Johnson about that. 5-3A Division II this year is going to be another tough one with Comanche there at the top. And we talk about this on the show. I don't think there's any way that Eastland goes 1-9 again. I know their head coach or former head coach, James Morton, stepped up into the AD role. But last year was an amazingly young team for them, probably the youngest that Eastland's had, and maybe the youngest Morton had had in his whole career coaching. He finished as 51-33 in Eastland, had a couple district championships, 6 playoff appearances, and of course back in 2020 they went 10-4 and made a great run. Head coach now there is Bobby Schumann. He joined the district in 2017, and like I said, he takes over a 1-9 team. But this is a team that has a ton of players coming back, and I think they're still going to be very good again on a bounce back year. So this whole district is going to be fun. But before we get to district, we got to start with non-district, of course. And the Bulldogs open up against Hamilton this week, actually on Thursday. I'm recording this on Wednesday night. With all the official things happening, the shortage of officials, the heat, you're going to see a lot more Thursday night games down in the 4A below, especially 3A and 2A, because you got to find your officials somewhere. And until more official or people sign up to be officials, this is what's going to happen. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but it does kind of have to adjust the schedule when we're a show that covers 4A, 3A, and 2A, and a majority of our games might end up being on Thursdays, but that'll be fine. We'll handle it, as will Millsap. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it is the head coach of the Bulldogs, Coach Jake Johnson, right here on the Millsap Football Show on S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media. Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at l4frclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. Terry Bennett back here on the Millsap Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Bulldogs, Coach Jake Johnson. And, Coach, first off, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. It's a great day outside.
Other than the fact it's 132 degrees. First week of the football season. We'll go ahead and start there, because that has been, with all the coaches that I've been talking to this week, that has been probably the biggest theme, is the heat. As a program, what are y'all trying to do to combat the heat?
Well, as many schools our size, where there's no indoor, so there's really no reprieve unless we go in a gym, we've just tried to be very proactive on recovery and regeneration work with our guys. We're trying to schedule in time for ice baths, contrast showers, stretching, just being very intentional with making sure we have plenty of recovery work to go with the workload that we put on them for the day.
Are y'all doing anything like morning practice, or are you still practicing in the afternoon?
We practice after school. That's really our only option right now. We actually started school, I guess, 2 weeks ago. And with us not having any lights on our practice field, we have to go after school.
So let's go ahead and talk about the off season. How did it go for your Bulldogs?
We had a great off season. I mean, it was fantastic. You know, we push really hard for our guys to compete in multiple sports, and of course, for us, two of the big ones are powerlifting and track. And our track program had another successful year. We had guys just improving their overall performance. And, you know, for us, the goal is to see all of that translate over to the field. But had a great year of performance training in the weight room, good year on the track, on the courts, and we're looking forward to see it translate over to the grass.
All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about your first opponent, the Hamilton Bulldogs, a 2A team, but a really solid 2A team. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, you're right. They're very solid. You know, every time we play them, it's usually a battle. I think last year they ended up going 3 rounds deep before they lost to a very good Toller team. They're always big, man. They always have big kids down there. They're big and they're physical, and they're going to be good at what they do. So we've, you know, with it being a short week because of the official shortage, us having to play on Thursday, we've really done all we could to have our guys prepared for what they're going to see and what they may see. And we want our guys to go play fast. That's a big deal for us. If we're thinking too much, we're not playing fast. So we've tried to show them and simplify it to where we can get out there and we can just turn it loose and let it fly.
Well, when you play a team that you've played multiple times, how much do you go back and look at last year's film, or are you just focusing on what you're seeing from their scrimmages?
We absolutely spent quite a bit of time looking at last year's film. You know, of course, the personnel may be different, and for us, it'll be quite different. We graduated a lot of guys. Yep. They're bringing back quite a bit. They didn't have the graduation we did. But it lets you see, you know, you go back and you watch the game the day after, and of course there's things you missed or things you wish you would have saw, but in a year's time you forget about that. So it's always good to go back and look with fresh eyes that week you play them. So if you made some notes or had something put away, brings it back to the front of your mind, that stuff you can address in practice this week.
For you as a program, you have a home game, and then you don't have another home game until like September 22nd, 3 straight on the road games. I know you've got to take the schedule the way you do, but how different is that to where you're going to see the home field this Thursday and then you won't see it again for almost a month?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. It is kind of nice that us coaches won't have to do as much painting the next 3 weeks. But, you know, that's just part of the game. And for us, we try not to let circumstances dictate how we do things. Whether we're playing here, playing on the road, whether it's 105 or 35, we try to not let circumstances dictate how we do things.
What are your thoughts on 5-3A Division II this year? I mean, Comanche and Eastland, and of course, y'all all right there fighting for playoff spots. And this is a district that I could see making pretty good runs into the playoffs.
Our district is very competitive, and I feel like it's been this way for the last 3 years. I think it's anybody's ball game. Every week, anybody could beat anybody. And you can't say that in every district. Of course, coaches are going to say that. But if you're honestly looking at it, any week, anybody could beat anybody. And I've felt that way about our district for the last few years. Of course, you have some teams who are bringing back more than others. A couple of those would be Jacksboro and Comanche. They're bringing a lot back. But man, at the end of the day, by the time you get to district ball and you know, everybody's in their midseason groove, and with injuries or lack of injuries, it all kind of evens out, and it's pretty salty week to week.
And there is no way Eastland finishes 1-9 again. I just don't see that happening.
I agree with you, and they have a very good group of young guys. One of the best 8th grade football teams I've ever seen last year. But they have a very good group of young guys coming up. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are contributing on Friday night this year. But yeah, I'm with you. There's no way they go 1-9 again.
Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at L4FRclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. I want to thank the head coach, Jake Johnson, for joining us here on the Millsap Bulldog Football Show, as he will each and every week. And I said it in the intro, I think it's going to be an exciting year for Millsap. I think the Bulldogs, we talk a little bit about it on the air and a little bit off the air too. Millsap over the last few years have kind of had that glass ceiling of 12 games. 11 and 12 games, 2020, 7-4, 2021, 6-6, last year, 7-4. And a lot of it is getting a better draw in district to not have to face the Callisburgs of the world in the first round, or the Holidays of the world in the first round, or the Gunters of the world in the second round. And also let's just remind you that in 3A Division II, just how tough this region is. And so I think Millsap has a chance to break through that glass ceiling this year, and it's going to be a fun ride, and we're here to document it and have fun talking to Coach Johnson. Again, if you'd like to be a sponsor of this show, email me, Terry at S2Ssport.com. You can also call or text me, 469-605-3658, and that's going to do it for week 1. Week 2, we'll talk about it next week right here on the Millsap Bulldog Football Show on the S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media.